Hi, good night, and welcome to Tonight's Talk. My name is Jason Clark, and tonight I'm joined by my fellow co-host, Mr. Hassani Evening and Mr. Akeem Kuro. And tonight we are also joined by a very special guest.
We're short-handed.
Yeah, we are joined by a very special guest tonight, the manager of the marketing manager of the Barbados Cricket Association, Miss, and someone who is no stranger to the show. He's always tuning in and adding his opinions, his 2 cents, Mr. Stephen Leslie.
Good evening, fellas. How are everybody?
Good evening, Stephen.
Good,
You're
all
good,
as
man.
well,
How are you
all as
doing?
well, all as well.
Nice,
All-
nice.
How is it going on your end?
Well, you know that we had the T20s and then the test match, so that was a busy period.
Okay.
So the last week or so was a little bit of a break, but now we getting ready for the domestic season. So I'm still at the office now, and it's that type of time where we're trying to pull everything together because we know that COVID would have affected us for a long period. So everything is pretty good from my end.
Glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. And how are the guys in the row? I ain't even want to talk about the Lakers. I ain't going there. So
Thank you.
how you going otherwise, Nero? How are things going, buddy?
Everything's blessed, man. Wrapping up some training sessions, some practice games, getting ready for the season.
Okay.
I got much time left, so just getting,
When
making every moment count.
When is this starting?
23rd, so probably 23rd.
23rd. Okay. So what any major goals for this season from you?
We'll get to that later. We'll get to that later.
Okay.
Later, another show.
Okay, another show. Okay, no problem. Mr. Evelyn, how are you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. I'm thankful. Another day in line living. Just thankful, man.
Okay.
Just looking forward to summer. We started NFL. I had done with basketball since All-Star break. I had done. The right there was on the wall. Manchester United in shambles.
Things just ain't right for you.
Well, yeah, it's just.
Okay, Steven, you're a basketball fan?
Funny enough, only in the days when I had the Michael Jordan and Scott Pippen. So you're talking over 20 odd years. But I will watch NBA just to relax.
Okay.
Realize that LeBron had an injury recently, so and the Lakers struggling. But outside of that, I would watch it just to relax.
Okay. Understood. Stephen, like I said, you are the manager of the marketing and communications of the Barbados Cricket Association. But I like to get back to the root of how it all began. So it was brought to my attention that you also play some cricket back in the day, which was unknown to me. So if you could just tell us about your cricketing journey back in the day.
Yeah, James. Like most of us, we at primary school and secondary school would have been exposed to more sports. So for me, I attended the St. Michael's School initially. That was in I think 1989 for 5 years. Then I did sixth form at the Lodge School. So during those years, St. Michael's and Lodge, I actually had the opportunity to start my first division cricket career at age 13. I was in second form, and Ian Bradshaw was the captain for the Combined School South in those days. And he, coming on to the end of that particular season, we had an opportunity to make our debut. And that cricket for me from age 13, I played first division for Combined School South, went into Combined Schools North. They had like different zoning in those days. And then from there, I went in to play for the Empire Club, had the opportunity to open the batting um, one day against Vibrant Green, Wanderers versus Empire on the lawn. And Vibrant Green was an amazing bowler. He was pitching the ball just short of a good length and ball big off cutters. And they opened the batting with Caroline Best. Caroline Best is a former Barbados and West Indies player. Funny enough, I just scored a century the weekend before in the school's game. So I recorded this game with confidence. I can get the ball in the middle of the bat for about 3 or 4 overs. And then the Empire stalwarts then I mean, in those days, you had maybe at least 300 to 400 people from Empire Club alone. Wanderers had a good following. So the minute they started to cuss me, who's this little 14-year-old boy, I can't get the ball off the square. I went down to Caroline Bass and said, Caroline, what should I do? I said, they do what you do last weekend, and made 100. And in 2 overs, I was out for about 10, trying to push it on. But yeah, man, I enjoy my time coming through the school system. Convent schools in Pearl. Then I went into Spartan for 1 year when I left um, school, and that was a very very good year for me because the late Mark Levine. I know a few gentlemen would have seen Mark Levine playing, but he was like a gazelle, meaning he could bat ball on field exceptionally well. He was based in South Africa, and I played with the late Livy Puckring, and Dave Marshall and those guys at Spartan. Had a reasonably decent year. That 1 year that I played at Spartan, and then I went over to Wanderers, and that's where I spent my last 4 or 5 years playing first division cricket on the domestic scene, and then I got exposed to some other options, mainly administration,
Mm-hmm.
and I really high up my boots when I was in my mid 20s. So I played first division from age 13 up to about age 24, 25, and then I went fully into administration after that.
Okay, interesting story. So while there, um, like you said, some different options arose there for you. So did you did you say, you know what made you say, well, you're gonna done with the cricket and you're just gonna go straight into the administration side of it?
I'll put it down to one gentleman. He's known now as Sir Hilary Beckles, but in those days it was Hilary Beckles.
Okay.
I went into the UWKFL campus after leaving law school, and he was based in Jamaica, and he would come back to Barbados just to play cricket. So he would fly home like the Friday evening, play cricket the Saturday, Sunday, and fly back out to Jamaica. So one particular game, it was like a little friendly full match at the university ground, which wasn't named at 3W's over then. And I was batting, and he said, man, look, with your ability here, man, I want to expose you to also not just playing cricket. I realize that you got good organizational skills. I tell you what, yeah, I mean, I normally go to the sports office at the university. I help out with all sports. 'Cause it wasn't just cricket, even though I was playing cricket, I was dealing with netball, because obviously the women were playing netball, volleyball, all the different sports. And he said, look, I hear you got good organizational skills. I'll give you opportunity to do a little supplement part-time job at the university sports office. And that basically took it from there because I started to go into the office like Monday to Friday, go class, spend 2 hours, and then in the sports office. And I realized, look, if I really want to make something out of this, I really should commit more time. So the Saturdays, going out there making 20 or 30 or 40 runs as a batsman wasn't really cutting it. So I tell myself, look, man, I ain't gonna make it in the big league. So let me try to put myself in a position that I can make a real meaningful contribution. And I started to like it, and then developing from liking it, and then actually starting because I was studying computer science and accounting at that time. I said, Mala, let me just finish this first degree, but let me just make sure I get a qualification in sports. And eventually, I did that at postgraduate level. But it was Hilary Beckles who really said to me, look, you got good skills, you can play cricket, but also use the administrative organization and efforts that you got. And that's what I did.
And, um, you just mentioned there that you worked at the University of the West Indies in basically a sporting capacity there. I know that there is there's a stigma attached to the university and being part of these sporting leagues. There's always this thing of the university. There's this unfair bias towards the university in all of these sporting leagues. I don't know how much you could say on this, but what is your take on that?
And I can tell you this, one of the interesting things about a lot of the criticism that university got and still remains to this day, we were always encouraged to strive for excellence. I'll keep it very simple. Strive for excellence. So the resources that the university had, in reality, a lot of other clubs and schools didn't
Yeah.
have. So by virtue of having those additional resources, it meant that you could have done things even in training. that a typical guy would go and train maybe 2 3 hours Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then next time they battle ball is on the weekend. At university, there was an indoor facility, indoor cricket school, we called it then. And what you found is that a guy could go to class, come back, have a hit, have a ball. We then got some bowling machines. So there was a lot of technical advantages that the guys had. A fellow who back 10 or 15 minutes Tuesday and do that Wednesday and Thursday. When you add them together, that was about 45 minutes that you back. But a guy now will go on the bowling machine. He get 6 hours in 2 days or 6 hours in 3 days of just practicing skills. He practicing hitting over the top, sweeping the ball, the cut shot, the pull shot. So the preparation was the advantage. And then when it came to the game there, because I had the opportunity to manage the university team, particularly in the years when university was dominating between like 2008. The university got admitted in 2006 for first division cricket. And I use the word admitted deliberately because the typical thing then was that you had to get
Promoted.
to get into first division. So you either go up or go down. University was admitted. I was a young man that was asked to pull together some data, some information um, for the Barbados Cricket Association. At that time, we at university had close to 62. I remember it well, Stanton Proverbs and a whole set of fellas, 62 players who were playing first division cricket. And that was part of the package that was put together, presented to BCA. BCA admitted the university under Tony Marshall, and that caused a uproar in Barbados because everybody's saying here how everybody gonna be able to get promoted or demoted, and this group of fellas come up on the hill, coming through the back door. And one of the things that I had, because as I say, stop playing early, I said as manager, one of the things you gotta do now since you get admit, you already know that is considered an outside child. Try our best to dominate. And I remember there was a little small ground. It's still there in St. Philip called Britain. University was like relaying the outfield and the pitch and everything because we were getting ready for the 2007 World Cup. And if you guys remember, in 2007 World Cup, there were some warm up games and some were played at university.
University.
So that whole 2006 season and 2007 season, university had to play at this small ground, Britain. And the first game that the university ever won, Shirley Clark, who's no coach of the Greenwood Islands, was captain at the side. And the fellas played 7 or 8 games that season and we won 3 day game. And I told the fellas in the meeting, look, I might not be the best cricketer, but we now get admit. And you can't play 6 and 7 games and only win one. Come 2007, we need to dominate. And in 2007, as the history books were right, the university was able to win the 50 over tournament with a complete blanket winning streak. It was 10 straight victories in the 3 day tournament. We registered about 5 or 6 victories out of the 9 matches and won that 3 day tournament. So winning became a habit, and winning at all costs was not what we wanted to do, but we wanted to make sure that we won and dominated because we had the facilities available. So that was kind of like the history of it. And people would start talking about guys who were doing part-time classes and fellas who was doing icing courses. Why these fellas being able to play the cricket on Saturdays, and then other fellas doing more legitimate, maths, computer science, whatever else. And that was a lot of discussion. I remember a lot of guys from like Queen's College, Commonwealth, Law School, who were still at campus and they could not make it into the side. And they were saying, man, I ain't going there because it met the Saints. They got this little small group. And then we made a choice, which was an interesting decision. I remember again, Henry Beckles came and said, who you think will be, he asked me that day, who you think will be a really good person to be able to mold these young Caribbean cricketers and Bajan cricketers together? And I suggested him Floyd Reefer. And one of the things about Floyd had just suffered an injury for Barbados, where he was running for a catch, and him and Martin Nurse actually collided. I don't know if you guys ever heard about that, but they collided, and it was a real nasty collision where Floyd had to learn to walk. He had to learn to walk again, and as I said, it was working at UB. So I remember one day his girlfriend then, who became his wife, Amanda Reefer, came and said, could we, allow Floyd to come into the little indoor school and learn to walk again and learn to jog. And that was where relationship started. So I made a kind of like a jump, a leap in the dark and tell Sir Hillary, well, try Floyd. And the history shows that once Floyd came in, because he was, as I say, recovering, he started to learn how to walk and then run and then he started to box. So then I said to him, well, if you in the setup and you get back fully fit, why not player coach? And that was it. Floyd ended up being player coach. The team started to do well. We had a lot of guys. And the issue then, I mean, most of you fellas will know is that we had a lot of guys from like the other islands, like St. Vincent had persons like Romel Curtis, Miles Boscombe, St. Lucia, I had Craig Emmanuel. We had fellas from Guyana, like Guilford Moore. Sting. And so you had like a situation where when you put out 11, you may say it with the agency here. So you had like a Nicolai Pars, who was one of the agents who played Omar Phillips. He was like one of the agents that was in the setup. So we had a regional team. There was a guy from Dominica, Liam Sebastian. All these guys were in that winning side that was able to generate the interest. And funny enough, after getting the success, what we wanted to do is to try to maintain the success. And a lot of the clubs in Barbados, I would say, unreservedly, had really good players. But it was a situation where it was almost a mind block when you come to UB because there was this talk all through the week, man. These fellas got unfair advantage. Fellas don't care icing courses. Instead of playing the bottom ball, they were playing a lot of other things. And we were able, as I said, during our period, to be successful. And one of the things about that group is that group was always determined. If a fella at the top don't make, somebody in the middle will come and pull up the slack. If a fella don't get wickets up front, we had a guy named Ryan Austin, who again was a really good off spinner. Sometimes we will have a left arm spinner named Kavish Singh. He would come in and play. He would come in and play pretty much and complement Ryan Austin, and those guys were able to take a lot of wickets, and University got a lot of success.
Calvin Hodge.
Captain Hodge and those guys came in definitely.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Yeah, Akeem Duar. I mean, if you fellas know, to be honest, it was really a lot of hard work. A lot of those guys took longer, I will say this, to complete their degrees because a typical degree is 3 years. Some of the fellas took 6. Sometimes some of the fellas went on 7, 8 years because they were really trying to balance the schoolwork and the cricket. But I think it was a very good exposure and a good experience. And from that university club team, if you guys remember, then there was the combined campuses and colleges team, which was a regional team. And that team got admitted in 2009. And let me tell you something, one of the things about that team, playing against the Trinidad, the Barbados, the Guyanas, got a lot of licks, but we also were able to give 1 or 2 little upsets and stuff like that. So it was a really good experience for a lot of those guys.
My final question before I let someone jump in there, I was gonna, ask about what was it like working working pretty closely with Floyd Riffa. Obviously, Floyd is, a legend, definitely a legend in the game. So yeah, so like I said, it was funny enough that you mentioned him there just now. So yeah, that was what was it like working with someone like a Floyd Riffa?
I will put on Floyd today as one of the true Caribbean sportsmen and a true patriot. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. I remember whenever Floyd came, I worked with these young men. Floyd would come in the morning, maybe about 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. I remember everybody else is pretty much students. Floyd and the student. So 8, 9 o'clock, he doing training, maybe up to midday. Take a little lunch break for an hour. So between 1 or 4, Floyd back there. Then the fellow who want to come now after class. So Floyd would take an hour break then in the afternoon, now around 5. And he did to 8 o'clock. And this man was doing this thing Monday to Friday. Then first thing Saturday at the game, come and perform. Showing the leadership that really that you want to see. So he was highly committed. And despite your skill level, this is the thing about it that I found interesting. And it was hoping that more Barbadian cricketers could have really benefited from Floyd. Floyd would allow persons to come to the facility because he became the head coach and pretty much player coach. and a person who was not even at university could come there and use the facility and increase their batting skills, their wicket keeping skills, their bowling skills. And there were only a few fellas who consistently took that offer. And you know what used to happen? Those were the guys that when the club season finished, they are in the top 3 or 4 because they were getting that extra practice outside of the clubs. Whereas some other guys who were really talented were with their clubs and they weren't coming to university or engaging. I mean, it's a personality thing too. I remember some really good players at YMPC, some really good players at Carrollton. The one or two that came from those clubs excelled. The other fellas who made 400 runs in the season, the fellas who were training extra, them fellas getting 600 runs. Kyle Mears, a lot of those fellas used to come up there, Shane Dorridge. A lot of those guys spent time working with Floyd. And for me, Floyd is one of those people who, I mean, I left university in 2015, so I worked with him between 2006 to 2015. So that's just shy of 9, 10 years. He's somebody that was always committed to getting the best out of the young cricketers. And I remember one game, Nikolai Paris, and this is saying that I don't know if Nick Parr could ever live down. I remember we went to Guyana to play a 4-day game, and that was the first time that Nick Parr made a century at regional 4-day level. But Nick Parr and a few of us, I included, went out the night. I had a couple of drinks. So Nick Parr met this century. We going out and met these drinks. Next morning, got the team meeting. The game started at 10 o'clock was the first class game. Nick Parr inside the dressing room snoring. What he meant to me? Because you score 100 if you come here and no go and snore. And the man like sleep. I mean, like a lot of us were really tired from the night before. We had people like Jason Paris and everybody that was in our tour. And Nick Parr was pulled up in front of all the fellas. And we was like, this is a goal, no boy, no matter century, how the coach could pull you in front of everybody talking about discipline. Now the coach was outside, was also out drinking. But what I'm saying is that these fellas knew how to be able to drink and then turn on the A game the following day. And the experience Nick Parr, however, drink, fall asleep, and snoring instead of the meeting. But that was it. Everything flowed really, really good. And Floyd was always committed. And then he always encouraged the fellas to do the best that they could.
Yeah. Before Hassani get to you, before Hassani, he rearing to go.
About the kid, course.
Yeah. Before Hassani get to you, just quickly. Obviously, you mentioned that you recommended Floyd. So when does this planning for a season start? So you assume you, Floyd, I am sure of Hillary, you always start planning for the season, the domestic season. When did that process start? Like in January or as soon as the current season would have finished?
Well, as you're familiar with the semester system is generally September to December, and then you go January to about March. Well, January to April, then you got summer school. So the planning for the club season was pretty much after you finish the club season in December. We used to start planning from January. January meaning that obviously a lot of skills work used to be done. Floyd is a real technical person. I was a more logistics and management person. So you got fellas that will come 4 or 5 days a week and they have charts. They know in their chart they're supposed to hit 200 balls within Monday to Wednesday. You know they're going to do X amount of shuttles. You know they're going to do X amount of sweep shots, etc. So you got that planning going on January, February, March. Now the typical club season, as you know, used to be like early May. So by the time a fella get to March, he hit, let's say he getting 100 balls to 3. They have 300 balls a week, you know. And you do that mass by 12. So you hit 3,600 balls. They got fellas that play a whole season. And they got nowhere closer. Yeah. Fellas like the seamers, the fast bowlers now were very well managed. So the fast bowlers would not be able to bowl more than 4 overs in a spell. And that was obviously to keep themselves fit enough. Fresh. We had a physiotherapist again because of resources. So we were able to tell a man, as much as you want to bowl a 5 over or 6 over spell, you're only bowling 4 overs today. We had like even the cricket ball. Most clubs when they get a cricket ball, if you get a box of new balls, when the ball get old, you're bowling that ball till the ball fuzz out. We used to start balls, scratch it one side, try to follow learn how to bowl a half new ball. Let fellow know how to bowl a wet ball as a slow bowler. So all that training pretty much Nero started as I say, for January. So by the time you reach the month of March, you're going through 12 weeks of a lot of repetition, a lot of high performance training. And then the mental aspect was something that we used to work on very much, where a lot of game scenarios, not game scenarios that typical clubs do, where you tell them, you want 60 runs in 5 overs and you want 20 runs to get in the last over. Not that type of game scenario. We used to go in game scenarios where a fella technically know, like I saw Floyd do something one day where he had a fella about a one pad, the front pad, and the wicket was deliberately prepared to spin then. So if you can't sweep the ball, which is a shot which you know when you sweep the ball, you got a range from forward the square right around to
Right
front
back.
leg. Got a lot of fellas that can't sweep the ball. So what Floyd do? All right, take off that back pad and you learn how to sweep. So a lot of fellas learn, like the Kyle Corbins and then fellas learn how to sweep the ball. So when you came in a Saturday game and a good bowler come from a club, so suppose you come to Yorkshire and Nero you in a good spell, people know, all right, if Nero bowling 10 overs in the 50 over game, we know how to sweep Nero depending on the field he set. And you know in cricket, you can only got 2 men behind
Yeah,
square.
but yeah.
So if you got him up on the 45 on a man deep square leg, the mega funny sweep there, the mega paddle sweep, the mega slow. So Floyd was amazing in teaching these guys how to do that. And the skill levels of those guys, I will tell you up front, I tell you guys here, wasn't different to the good club cricketers and all, but the exposure to repetition, the exposure to being able to train in good facilities. When the rainfall, most things the Sunny you will do when the rainfall is going to pavilion relax. The fellas in the indoor school hitting balls at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. And that was something that we were really keen on. And then mentally, when you get into spots, how do you problem solve? Problem solving in, all right, in a 50 over game, the overs number 20 to 40, this where you consolidate. Don't care if you get a wonderful start, consolidate, score at 5 and 6 runs over during that period. So a lot of 300 scores were made by university because we used to plan the cricket mentally during those months.
Right. And second question before Sunny go, how has been the transition from I think you were operations before and now into communication and marketing?
Well, I came to the BCA, as you just said, November 2015, and I was director of cricket for 5 years, from November 2015 to October 2020. And during that year, I'm very happy to say that those 5 years, our youth cricket program, our center of excellence, we had years where we had the under 15 regional Barbados team winning back to back championships, regional on the 17s, regional on the 19s. And if you look back at the last 40 years of Barbados cricket, we dominate senior men's cricket. But the junior cricket, the last time we had won the regional tournament was back in 2012 when I think Shea Hope was playing. So I was really happy to work with the guys and be able to get those type of results from the regional junior level. And then our men continued to dominate, and then our women started to dominate as well. But the transition has been an interesting one because coming in from university, I did a bit of everything. I did a bit of marketing, I did a bit of administration, I did a bit of accounting. I used to have to manage a budget in excess of 500,000 US a year. I have to account for everything. So I had a bit of everything mixed up in that 12 years at UE. So when they transitioned from operations, which I've loved, because I've been working with regional tournaments, local tournaments, international tournaments for over 20 years, to just be strictly knowing marketing, I'm putting together all those skills and using the connections. And I've been enjoying it. I'll be honest. I've been enjoying it. It's something that I think is very important. COVID is on us, which makes it a lot difficult when you go to people asking them to contribute to cricket. Years gone by, a financial controller would have been a former cricketer, and he might be able to work in the budget. But these times now, you've got people making business decisions, and they will say, "Look, I can't even meet payroll, or I can't even do certain things because of COVID. So I ain't gonna come and give you the big set of washing money because it's a game of cricket." So a lot of skills now that I'm developing, a lot of negotiating has been ongoing, and I've enjoyed a year and a half that I've been in this new role.
Go ahead, Mr. Evening.
I'm gonna miss guys again.
Yeah, good man.
You see, you jump the line. So I want to know had they all had to do the grind, you think the UE would have been as successful as it was with the sketchy line in port, then headhunt. Because this is word on the streets.
You made me sip water, Hassan. You made me sip water.
You know, your port your best. You can school on the 19th system and say, all right, I want him, and him. Had you all had to grind from like second division or come up, you think UV would have still been as successful as it is in terms of y'all had to put in the work from the bottom and come up, earn your stripes as the people would say.
I'll be honest. It would have been a lot more difficult working through the system, but I believe that university would have been still successful. I'll tell you why. Before 2006, when university got the first division admission, university in 2005 topped the zone in the intermediate division. And again, I was just manager, and I think there were 9 games, and university won about 7. So you had a lot of good cricketers playing intermediate cricket and was able, to say, to bring that zone back in 2005. However, translating that into the question that you asked, where a team could come in 2006, then be able to scout, because that's basically what scouting is. You try to get the best youngster from Lodge, Cormier, St. Michael's, Queens, whichever school, and you pull them together, and then you incorporate that with the regional talent. Because trust me, a lot of contributions that were made to UE success wasn't just the local Bajan guys. It was a lot of the Craig Emanuels, the Brahma Currencies, the Miles Bascoms, the Guilford Moores, the Cabbage Can, the things them. So the domination might not have been at the same level, but the ability to be successful, I believe, would have been able to be realized. Because we had a lot of talented Barbadian cricketers on the campus for sure.
All right, second one quickly. All right, we had the COVID. We fast forward. We see the light or late at the end of the tunnel. 2022 BCA domestic season. What can we expect? Format. How can we expect? Know that we having about some proper good local cricket and not just the shorter format, but I think the 3-day or 4-day versions coming by as well.
Well, I'll start by telling you this. In my new role, I don't get the opportunity to see or hear the negotiations like before. But it was shared with me maybe just about a week and a half ago that all the formats are back. So come the 23rd of April, we started with the T20s. The T20s now will be Elite and Division 1 together, which is a T20 Cup. Then you got the intermediate teams playing T20 together, that T20 Shield. And then the second division teams playing the T20 Play. So you got from the 23rd of April to about the 11th or so of June, strictly T20 cricket going on. So that's a wonderful thing to start with. Again, you're trying to make a soft reintegration into being at a clubhouse, relaxing, a fella having a drink after the game, being out and being able to express yourself and playing cricket. So that's the first thing. We also get past those T20s, we go right into the 50 over and the 40 over component. Again, limited overs. The 50 over will be for the elite and first division teams. The 40 over will be for the intermediate, second division clubs and schools. So that'll run pretty much from mid-June right down to about August. The traditional cricket that you and I know, which is promotion and relegation now, 3-day elite, that is starting in August. So that 3-day elite will play in August. That runs from August right down to December 18th, a week before Christmas. And then you have, along with that 3-day elite, the intermediate playing their 3 days, the second division playing their 2 days. So they're running the cricket similarly, right ball cricket, from pretty much August running down the road. Now, I'm really pleased to hear that we are going down the road of having all formats played. Because one of the things about cricket, and it happened when I first came to BCA, I remember that typically when I played first division, it used to be right ball up front all the time. So when you get any month from me, right ball cricket. And I made a decision, and the board agreed, look, I want to get more scores for limited overs cricket. When it's the scores, there weren't enough centuries being made. And the drier part of the season, as we know, is probably from May to roughly about September. The rain is setting on us, and we get a lot of rain between September and down the road.
Correct.
So I was able to ask and agree, propose it. We play a lot of white ball cricket. Ray Walker came in for the back of the end. And then this promotion relegation now. This is complicated. Remember, like fellas would normally go to England. The real good players for some clubs will go to England. And by the time they get back at the end of August, half of the Ray Ball season finish. So it's a nah, man. Play the white ball up front. But the time that fellas come back, teams get, the better players back in the troops. And you're able to really deal with the business end. So this year, we are going forward all three formats. White ball T20s, white ball 50 over, and then the typical red ball with its promotion and relegation.
All right, thanks, my brother. Y'all will give a consideration. How about starting the season earlier? Bring it up. We've got a lot. I just said September. We've got a lot of rain interrupting the back end of the season. To me, I guess the same BC and BFA got a workout called BFA does normally play in the draft party season, and that man is be complaining, but how hard and crack at the grounds is be. So I'm saying we look at that retool it to play. And ironic enough, the latter stages of last year, we had a lot of rain. We get rain, a lot of rain to start the year. So to me, I think I don't know if y'all can look at it. Start the season a little, bring it up a little bit, probably to about.
That gonna be difficult, Sonny, because from a man that's be at the cricket grounds in February and March, the grounds just be horrible. Most grounds just be.
Yeah, but a lot of rain falling on the road. You cannot say that the year was dry. You can't, but with how the
I'm talking about generally.
Generally,
right. The grounds were horrible. Now going forward, that's a different thing. But generally, and then I've seen he's got some tours now. He's finding it becoming a staple. He's got tours in January and then first class cricket. So that might not be on the agenda for the BC at that point until April or so.
But Trinidad is playing them early.
We in Trinidad.
It's an interesting suggestion, Hassani, because the thing about playing earlier, not just the points that Nero made too. One of the things that I find happens, we play more organized cricket than any other part of the Caribbean. We play just over 1,200 cricket organized matches for club cricket between April and December. 1,200 games and all. Study that for a moment. We set this thing for granted. In St. Vincent, in Grenada, most of these other islands you will hear, they got a tournament. Jamaica, you see in Trinidad play a lot of limited overs, but when you look at the matches, Barbados got 1,200 games for the season. Then we got schools cricket. We got the under 15s, used to call it the line under 15. We got under 19 cricket. Then we still got women's cricket league too that we display. So all things being equal, Hassani and Nero and everyone, we try our best to. We've got cricket 12 months a year really in Barbados and all. But it's just that the club season is start from April. Because remember, between January and March, you've got Masters cricket too.
Keith Boys.
Masters cricket come through from January to March. You just got the women's league that is called the Iris Walker Women. That's T20 and 50 over games that start in February. So we just got continuous cricket. But the typical club season is run from about April to about December.
All right. In that case, maybe kind of the latter half in terms of like the semi-finals and finals. Maybe get onto there like in the right ball season. We should take a pause because the rain is affect a lot of them games and start and play them early in the new year. Just before outside gets dry. Cause that December, early January period, outside is still be a little. The grounds are still being in good shape. That way, you can get a proper finals. I mean, it's good for the guys to get accustomed to all conditions, wet wicket, dry wicket. But in terms, again, like a proper final and a proper semi-final, instead of a team going out because of in the group or whatever the case is, it brings back life. And I'm glad as a attempted player and a fan of the game that is all format cricket. For the clubs especially, it's good to see people getting back active, enjoying the game. It is a pleasant sight to drive on the roads on evenings and see the guys out practicing and the fellas excited, and the word is that the fellas are excited this season. So I'm praying that with the excitement comes a very heavy competition and a lot of run scorers, wicket takers, a competitive season. That makes the Barbados selectors scratch their head. Sure, we got cause the guys were locked up basically for 2 years. So those that are really serious about taking their games to the next level should come out the blocks this season with a renewed desire and hunger to say, look, I miss cricket so bad and this how we can dominate.
And as I think I read something here now that I don't know if you fellas know, but the concrete strip at Wanderers, I know that there are fellas who go there, and I talking about the Shane Mosleys and Tevin Walkers and these guys. These guys go there now to try to go to keep their game refined. And they are club cricketers who need to expose themselves and utilize facilities that are available. So that, as you say, when the club season start and you start to reel off scores, it's because you have been preparing yourself a little bit better than the other guy. And I think that was critical because there's something called the Legends Cup that we introduced at the BCA 2 years ago, where the best players, it's like trials, but the best players are then put into 3 or 4 teams, and then you allow them to play cricket leading into the regional tournament. So again, to get into their Legends games, you gotta be able to try to show your worth at club level. And I think that's the important thing because for me, club cricket is two things. You got the recreational guys who could go there and make sure they have a good time, get a good sweat, interact, and then you got the guys who want to go to the next level. So you got to cater to those both groups, and once you go that route, you can't go wrong.
All right, Leslie. Sorry, Jay.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, Leslie. You just mentioned that we played over 1,200 games, right? And I have some former teammates and some current teammates from Trinidad, St. Lucia, and they normally come and play this. They can't believe the amount of cricket, the structure, and stuff like that. So we are ahead in that aspect. But in other aspects, I think we are behind. So I wanted to put it to you, how far off do you think we are from having a paid setup for like at least the elite and first division or whatever, even the elite, because I know y'all obviously play the Barbados players, etc. So how far we are from at least having that structure? And I mean the Calypso Cup, as in just a straight franchise T20 setup. I mean like for that division. And secondly, our stuff being televised because obviously we would have just seen the T10, the Vinci Mass tournament, and I think Grenada has one as well. The yes. So how far are we from that Barbados? We got how far? How far?
Let me take the second one first, because only
Mm-hmm.
today I was speaking to a guy named Carlos Clark, who's from BIM TV, and he and I met about 2 months ago, and the long and short of it is that the whole televising of cricket, like streaming the cricket, is something that is being aggressively pursued right now. I feel personally when it was doing the other job, I don't believe that you should just hear radio commentary on the Saturday. I feel a man should be able to go on his device and you got a feature game. You can't be able to stream every elite
Yeah.
game, but a man know that the feature game is Pittway versus Wanderers, and he knows that a T20 is a short game, 3 hours. He can put his device and between 2 o'clock to 5, he watching the Pittway versus Wanderers game. Now we are at the point now where we are putting dollar signs to it, and then the proposal will be put together and really taken to the powers, which is the board of directors. So we are closer in 2022 to having a more visual, as you call it, televising, live streaming the cricket than we were in 2020 when we last played cricket. The other thing about what you asked about the shortcomings, uh, I'll be upfront and tell you that having Sagara Fitzgerald as a living legend, and then the Gordon Greenidges, the Desmond Haynes, the Malcolm Marshalls, we start things to ground in Barbados, as soon as a fella is good and he can't get to that level of being a net Sagari, we just land base them. So it also happens with our organization. In terms of the organization of cricket, 1,200 games are played, and there's certain things that we need to do better. I think that the pitches in Barbados, that clubs need to be able to start getting more help, getting groundsmen taught how to prepare pitches better. And I won't be critical of the groundsmen that we have around Barbados because they do a tremendous job. They work sometimes by themselves, pulling the roller. They may got one fella, and then a little boy that come along, so you only got two. But they do the best with even the resources. But we got to reach a point now, I believe, that all the pitches at the elite level and intermediate level Certainly for the schools, cricket got to be better. Because I don't think that we get the best pitches, and the outfield dynamic is a very tricky one because, as you know, you're saying it earlier, there's certain times of the year where you got rain, and there can be certain times of the year where it's very dry. So the pitches and the outfields in Barbados are always going to be under strain because we just do everything. If you go to school, you just play football at the on the pasta, you just do track and field on the pasta, you just play cricket on the pasta. So
Yeah.
how you could be able to then manicure and keep a field in the the condition that you really want it to be.
Yeah.
And I went to law school like 3 weeks ago to do an interview, which I can share with you guys eventually once it's produced with Mr. Clifton Phillips. Clifton Phillips now, based on the interview, this year is going to be 30 years that he was teaching and at the law school and being involved as a cricket coach. Now, when I went there
Just as old as me, just. It's true.
that's what I'm saying. I mean, I went there in 1994, and Mr. Phillips looking the same way in 2022.
Mustache.
Even sales
Yeah.
mustache, shirt in the pants,
Yeah.
same on the trim, and I can tell you fellas, right? It just shows you but when you look at Lodge School, one man know Lodge got A ground and B ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you look at the infrastructure, the new pavilion and everything, first class. But the outfield now, from what I saw, well manicured and everything. But you know what happen now when you start lining up the marks.
Yeah. For track and thing.
So the long short of it, fellas, is that it's gonna be tough to be able to remedy those things. I made a proposal 4 years ago, and maybe it will be taken up with the powers that be in this new dimension. You will need to identify between 6 to 8 rounds in Barbados, and they were outlined. We went down the road: Windward, North Stars, Wanderers, St. Catherine. And when you use those grounds, try to put some resources in them and be able then to build them out to be what you would consider mini first class grounds. And you play your elite cricket, but your best players, your most competitive cricketers at those 6 or 8 rounds, and you rotate them. A man home game does not have to be that St. Catherine must play home in St. Philip. University must not always have to play home at 3W's Oval. I'm saying that if you got 6 or 8 rounds, you rotate them and you allow everybody to have an experience at those different rounds. And those are the things that I hope could help our cricket going forward. And the last thing was, and you were saying to mention it, the umpiring. The umpiring in Barbados has improved from maybe 20, 30 years ago. But I still believe that there's a lot more that we can do to help the best umpires come through. But we got a lot of young umpires that I believe should be forging their way into the first class panel and be able to get on the international panel. Because if you look at the umpiring for the Caribbean officials in the last 3 or 4 series, it has not been up to scratch. And I think that that's where we need to really encourage people and to work with the umpires and get them up to that level that we could be world class. Even if we ain't playing the best cricket on the field, we got on officials that are world class.
But Mr. Leslie, I think Lodge got the best groundsman in Barbados, so that just me though. Big up to Levi. He best used to call Lodge this used to call Lodge Perf, man. When it comes to great season, field manicure as much as football used to play on La Pasta. Man, you could not believe it was cricket. Could not believe that. Grass nice and soft. And then sometimes what the footballers used to do sometimes is he would got them practicing on the B pasta. You know, he was it's usually pasta, but the B pasta apparently is getting some work done as well. So
Yeah.
and also the nets was always key. And we've been begging for them for years, just Cornmeal got nets and we can't get little concrete nets. Remember the odds we going. Nets, new pavilion, gym.
I can't remember if you answered me about the paid structure part. You know, I think you did that.
I
just said that.
left outside the All-Star.
Anyway, I think it's something that the BCA need to look at, especially when you're sending in your proposals, because not only are marquee players leaving, like to the USA is becoming a thing now, and other leagues, Trinidad a couple of years ago, even some players that are not marquee or bigger names are just going to England, and some of the money that they're going for is not substantial amount of money. Guys are just going because it's England. So I think it's something that the BCA have to look at soon, especially when you're going out there for sponsorship and for that injection of cash.
Now I'll give it this much of the answer. I deliberately didn't want to touch it because you did say when you ask the question, you don't want to be like the Calypso Cup. But remember, there was a concept where you wanted to put together 6 franchise teams,
Correct.
15 players.
Guy,
So
they
you're
just
paying
get
them
flash in the
90
pan.
players. Right, you're paying 90 players X amount of money. And when the budget was put together, fellas, it was over 2.5 million Barbados dollars for that short tournament. When you look at all the league fees and then you got to prepare the grounds, etc. So nobody gonna walk out and give cricket or any sport in Barbados $2.5 million for that. And every BC has resources. We're resourced by the Barbados Lottery in terms of the overall income and revenue. If you take that money and put $2.5 million as a board, you then gotta justify that to your membership. And you gotta let your membership know this is how the 90 players are actually benefiting Barbados' cricket. So it's one of the tricky things where yes, people want to be able to remunerate a person or a good player. And the franchises in Trinidad and US, those guys, as you say, don't get paid a big set of money. But it's lucrative enough. They get to go to the mall, they get the X amount in the pocket. So they fellas take it because in Barbados right now is unless you're contracted,
It's
you don't
nothing.
get anything for cricket. But it's something that I believe that once we get through this period of COVID, and COVID is going to take a little while to allow the economy to rebound. Because right now, as we fellas know, that everything is taking a while to come back to some semblance of normalcy. So I believe in another year or so that serious consideration can go back to that discussion.
Well, Stephen, before I get into my next question, I just want to say it's very pleasing to hear that the cricket will be coming back in full force in all formats. I know Nero near 2 decades, lazy boy, and I honestly Nero is just that person. Nero is always one mood all the time, just always happy, always. Nero is just Nero, but you see when you're hearing cricket game, you're getting cricket all the time, my cricket get cancelled all the time, all the time, all the time. I know it was really taking a toll my man, you know, for sure. He was really feeling it for sure. He really was taking it on. So to hear that cricket is coming back,
So
I
just
know
trying to
my
say it
boy
was
is
licking up
happy.
your mental. It was licking up your mental.
Yeah, it was really
For
messy with
sure.
him, man. So I know he's glad to have the cricket coming back.
So
But
just before you, so you're trying to say that expect a blockbuster season
jeez,
for Nero
I
then.
am not saying that. I'm saying that he's happy to have cricket back.
But being happy should translate to runs.
Well, it should, but
Okay.
we'll see how that goes.
Okay. Yeah,
But
expect them 600 runs, Nero. Thanks, man.
one, I mean, I wish we had it for host tonight, but one person I really wish that was on the
Thanks.
show tonight was Dwayne Collingwood. But I don't think Collingwood.
I
But
I actually was looking for not just interacting with you three, right? But
yeah,
Dwayne, all the shows that I've watched is one of these guys. I really wanted to engage him on club
yeah,
cricket and
yes,
the whole UV
yes,
project, and
Yeah.
yes,
yeah,
yes,
but
yes,
it
yes.
is what it is.
Yeah. But I mean, Nero kind of asked this question just just on it kind of in a nutshell. Um, the state of cricket in Barbados right now. I mean, there are many. We talk about the not playing of enough games. We're talking about the same pain with the cricketers on a weekly basis. The facilities. Like I said, there are a lot of different factors that we kind of pick out for the lack of performance and stuff like that in cricket in Barbados. So like without giving away too much, obviously I know certain things that they have to be passed by a board and stuff like that. Are there plans or are there thoughts being have at the current moment to improve the state of cricket in Barbados and like obviously I mean Steven, you're someone that is on the ground, so you hear all of the different discrepancies, I should say, for lack of a better word at the moment, with regards to cricket. So like I said, you obviously you can't say too much, but are there thoughts, are there plans, are there things in the works to try to improve the level of cricket in Barbados?
Definitely. There's a BCA cricket development plan that you could read, or anybody could read on the current Barbados cricket website. It is 2018 to 2022, and that cricket plan has a slew of different areas, from women's cricket, trying to get more young ladies playing from the primary school level. Um, Young boys, we know they got the Herman Griffith cricket, which is not really managed by the BCA, which is something that I've always felt, even though this National Sports Council has continued to produce and do a very good job at the Herman Griffith, I believe Barbados Cricket Association should also be part of that development phase,
Definitely.
um, from those young boys from age 6 up to age 11. But be that as it may, that is also part of things that we need to really improve on. And the plan, if you look at it, has so many different areas trying to get a semi-professional league, semi-professional league, which you and I would traditionally look at having franchise type cricket for the
Mm-hmm.
better players. Then being able to advance the amateurs into being semi-professional too as well, because it is all about the environment. And if you don't do things the right way, people will just take it as recreation, and there was a few of them can get cultures, and the rest of the week could just have a drink on the sada, eat some food, and relax. So the plan is so comprehensive now, because I mean COVID affected year 2020 to year 2022. So
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of things that was still there needed to be rolled out, that probably would be part of the plan going forward. So yes, there's a very serious approach at the BCA for the development of all cricket, and working with the schools, because people got to realize that club cricket can only become strong again when the school cricket improves and becomes stronger. This is what I mean. A typical club cricketer, when I was playing cricket for Spartan, would turn up to the ground on Saturday and Sunday and play cricket, and only be there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for practice. I don't know what it is every day now. Sometimes now, I know fellas just turn up for the two practice sessions or one, and then they come for Saturdays. But they're not true club men. They're club men that will be there from Monday to Friday, helping out the other club mates. So suppose you are a club like Carlton, they got a netball team, they got a volleyball team, they got a football team, they got a cricket team. A true Carlton club member should be somebody who, even though they might be a cricketer, they're helping out the other people during the course of the week. And I find out what happens in Barbados now is that most cricketers come and they play, they practice, and then they go long. Now you got the devices, which is not what we had maybe 15 years ago. A person know that they're going to a cruise before a ball bowl, so that when 6:30, they get ready, a shower, and they're gone. You're sitting in the room in the dressing room talking about what happened in the game for a long time. You only get these stories. I remember having to sit down
The
in
older
Park Club.
generation gone. The older generation, yeah.
That's the point. You had to sit down in the club, fellas. Game finish at 5 o'clock. All 9 and 10 o'clock, you still in the clubhouse listening to stories here about how to be able to plan for the team that you're playing against, how they were able to, get victories from behind. But in these times, a man go play by 7 o'clock, he home or he go on, some other recreation activity. So if you get the schools understanding a feeder system, so like if you go to like let's call the school Alexandra, you should be going to Maple. It should be a feeder program that for
Simple.
Alexandra school, you go to Maple because that's the natural progression. If
Mm-hmm.
you maybe at Commonwealth School, you know that you're floating down to Spartan or you're floating down to Empire
Impact.
Club. So these are things that have to be streamlined. So a young man that is talented knows from second and third form, this is where my pathway is likely to be from a club level, school to club. These are things that I believe the BCA can work on to improve. And I'm sure that going forward, as I told you, that the plan beyond the 2022 will have those type of things in it.
So how about Stephen? Let me see. I'm not saying not make it a law. Cause most clubs is poach the fellas from all over, and it's also come down to location where the persons live. But make it a highly recommendation. Like, hey, I ain't incentivize it. You get points if you feel, if you get additional points to start bonus points to start your season if you get players from your schools in your locale. So Maple, if you bring in children to the feeder program from down the north, cause I think Maple's the main ground north.
Yeah.
Besides, yeah, you get points. You take care of that locale. I just say there's Lodge. Let me use Lodge as St. Catherine automatically. Yeah. But again, that comes down to where the person live. So if the person, they try to, as you say, the feeder system and the schools work with the clubs, as you said. But then would it not have a need for combined schools?
You see,
You
there's a
would
need
still
for
have a need
combined
for
school.
combined if you're going to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
there'll be a need for combined school for sure too. But you see, I don't know if you fellas know, right? But like when I did my post grad, I do a little, let's call it a thesis or something like that, right? Thesis.
Mm-hmm.
When I did that, some of the books I had to read, I did not know. I think a shirt tonight that the first time a West Indies team ever went on an international tour was to the United States and Canada in 1882. That was 30 years. You know, we always hear about 1928
Mm-hmm.
as the first test match that West Indies played. Backtrack 30 years. They felt that West Indies had to be proving themselves, and but West Indies went through USA and Canada. There's a book by Hilary Beckles that got chronicled the game played, and we till licking in 1882 playing in Houston and in Boston and California. So what happened then is that was a 30 year leading into 1928 before we started playing cricket. I feel that these are sort of things that we need to educate our clubs and our schools about. Where you tell fellas, look, this cricket was not just saying that happened by chance. There was a method. They brought people from overseas, for example. This is the last thing we'll share tonight. They had the three schools in Barbados: Arson College, Combermere, and the Lodge. So in the like 1850s, 1860s, headmasters were sent from England to then three schools in Barbados. And you know what they were? You know what they taught? The two of those three schools, you all must have a games master, and you games master must teach cricket. You know what it was teaching cricket? Because they wanted cricket to be a method to discipline people. You know, they got saying in cricket that the umpire's decision is final. So if a man teeth you out, you're supposed to put you back on if you arm and walk off. All that was part of his socialization. That the
Mm-hmm.
principals, the games masters, everybody was there between the 1850s to socialize us to be in a particular direction. So I feel that them says that we should teach people, let them know understand the history. By the time we get to 1928, what it meant. By the time you get to 1950, when we have the first black captain, what it meant, and all of those things will help, I believe, in the development of cricket. But cricket is different now in 2022 than it was maybe up to the 1980s. So we gotta do the best that we can.
Mm-hmm. Uh, well, I mean, honestly, I just hope, and as someone who would have served in the under the UV camp and would have seen the advantages of having various resources and stuff like that, and just seeing how that would have helped those players, you know yeah, I just hope that some of your knowledge and some of your experience can now transition over to the BCA cricket and would help cricket at large in Barbados. Yeah, I'll leave it on that.
All
And
right.
that's one inside scoop though. Is this the calendar season for? Is there any more cricket in Barbados, like internationally or regionally at Kensington Oval for the rest of the year, or that's it?
My understanding, my information is that we are going to have the New Zealand
New
team
Zealand.
here in the early part of August.
See what you should have left it. You should have said. You should have said it's on the table. Yeah, it's possible.
but no, that's what is likely to happen. We probably will have New Zealand here in August,
Mhm.
and I don't know if you guys would have heard about the regional cricket men's season is supposed to be
Trinidad.
continuing in Trinidad sometime in the month of May. So that would impact us. And then I understand there could be a hosting of some regional youth cricket in Barbados. I'm not sure if it's youth women or youth men, but certainly that's something that's possible as well during the course of the year.
Okay.
Any more questions for Steven, guys?
That's it for me for no man. He get ready tonight. He get ready tonight.
Well, all right. Well, yeah. Let me see. All right. Turn up. I mean, partnerships. We look at partnerships. Like one of the things that we realize about these young cricketers through the programs in terms of public speaking and having people be more aware, speaking, showing a different side. The programs, yeah, the Mason, I guess, but like ours, let me take ours for example. Like we give a lot of knowledge and we give our viewers a chance to know these cricketers in a different light, and have a greater appreciation for the journey. You think that's something the BCA will be interested in? Because you have the pool of the cricketers, you tell us about this could be part of media training, how you conduct yourself. And if you call it the end of the day, is about them getting themselves out there. So people say, well, who's this all nobody? But they can say, well, so and so was. And, it helps with the confidence, especially,
Well, Hassani, you hit nail on the head. We got a lot of stereotypes in Barbados. And if I talk about this program, I try my best every Wednesday to tune in because I'm really pleased with the work that you guys have been doing. I think that what you guys are doing now, maybe 2, 3, 4 years from now, each of you could be an international comments person, an international blogger, an international. We don't know, but one of the things that I find is in Barbados, the first thing they do, where that person went to school. Did that person play for Barbados? Who was them aunt, uncle, or grandfather? I remember, for example, and this is only a personal, professional example I'm going to give you. When the job for director cricket was advertised, any of the 300,000 Bajans could have applied for it. Listen to me carefully. Any of the 300,000. Any person outside of Barbados could have also applied. I was fortunate enough after the interview to get it. But who he play for? Play some club cricket. Who he play for? He ain't play for Barbados. So what you find is that when you try to encourage young people, because when I got the job, I was 37. So here's a man who would play national cricket in the mid to late 30s and get a job. And then when you bring certain ideas, it would be something that you gotta really hammer home. I be a diplomatic. You gotta really hammer it home. Now, if I was a person maybe who would have played a few games in Barbados or West Indies, or be a slightly lighter color than what I am now, a lot of things that you guys are talking about public speaking, a lot of things might have been able to be realized a lot faster. But the BCA is a place that I enjoy working. It's a place that I like promoting things like what you guys do. I mean, I feel that BCA should got a BCA TV channel that highlighting all cricket, grassroots, women, men, boys, girls, get to see the perspective of so many other people that we just only see when they go out. And that's some of the things that I'm talking about with the gentleman and something that I can put on the table. And you have that channel and you can make so much money from it because Barbados cricket is a brand. Whether you like it or not, West Indies may be losing cricket games for the last 15 years, but Barbados still have this sort of aura about when people here, or are you a Bajan? And just remember Malcolm Marshall, remember Garner, just remember so many people from even the World Week, Sam Walker, so Gary. So there's a brand, and I feel that there's so much that can happen, just as you said, Hassani, with the program that you guys are doing and the work that you guys are doing should be something that we should encourage. And not only encourage, but market it. Market it aggressively. Let people know, look, this is the blog that you should be tuning in every Wednesday to. This is Wednesday 8:30 till 9:30 or 10. This is where you should be. Not just in Mason and Guest. But the Mason and Guest has its audience and it has its role. Because remember Mason is bringing a lot of his charisma to the whole show. That's why you listen to him. Yeah. But it's also about getting this type of...
And there's a different demographic too.
Exactly, a different demographic. Perfect. Yeah. But he has a wide audience. And one of the things that I wanted him to do which I said to him privately, is to continue to promote cricket as much as he can. Commentators, people who could be inside. If you listen to people like Jamal Smith and them fellas' comments, they were some of the best comments made in the Caribbean. Let me be real, I'll be him pretending, but it is what it is. Jamal Smith played first class cricket, as you know, for Barbados and CCC. But if he the real maroon cap, he might be sitting down next to Nasser Hussain or one of these fellas right now, and that's how it goes.
I just said that it give me sad call, man. All that man said Laura for Ben all that like 20 of that man decided to just left the earth tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like it's a big boycott in a succession planning. Being here now, but being thinking 20 years from now, let's groom these fellas early. Let me integrate them, let me show them the ropes. And then it's just all that knowledge there. Like after Tony Cozy, there was a little gap. Like there was a gap. There was literally a gap in the Caribbean for a commentator because there was no succession planning.
Yeah, and you see the opportunities that are provided now. You have, I could call three names. You got Bishop, Ian Bishop, Darren Ganga. Them fellas go right around the world.
Correct.
Most franchises always you want to hear their voice, and then you got fellas that are coming on now who training, who have been exposed. Let me put it that way. Who are former cricketers like Security Ambrose and these guys. They're coming on, but they've not reached that level like a Ganga. You hear Ganga every international T20 franchise that I got because he's a brand now. And Bishop is the same thing. Bishop.
I think it's the voice, though. Like some man just got the gift of gap, the voice for it. It don't sound
I don't know if you guys just follow Australia cricket, but Australia, if a fella finished playing at age 38 and it's February,
booth straight in the booth.
by March 1st, man in the booth.
You
just got Damian Martin, all these fellas, Mark Taylor, Ricky,
Gil Chris, all of them.
Or
they can get straight into coaching.
We should have a system where a Windward Islander, a Leeward Islander, a Bajan, a Trini, a Ghanese, a Jamaican, that you got a system that you must put somebody up. Let it comment. You listen to the radio commentary throughout the last two regional games that we play. I don't know if fellas is listening to it, but be honest. You got some men who don't even know the players.
Yeah.
No, I mean, and the player, they don't even know the player. And if you do that the first day of a 4-day match, but fellas have got numbers on the back.
Yeah.
By day 2 of the game, you got to be able to get right.
Yeah.
So I feel that's where the system now needs to allow people like the Jamal Smiths and these fellas to be a name that you put up there. And that fellas got to be like standard, not a fellow who used to comment or like the, be a club cricket commentator, and then you put you to do regional cricket. You ain't gonna sell doing it that way. And that's unfortunately what we do too much in the Caribbean right now. A big frames thing.
Yep, that's true. Any more questions, guys, before Nero steps in? Okay. All right, Nero, take it away.
All right, on behalf of the guys, I'd like to say thank you. Was a bit overdue. We're glad to finally have you. But before we go, is there anyone you'd like to see on the show? But you'll have to set us up with the person.
For me, after hearing, I would love to hear Professor Hillary. For me, I would
he has to be a Barbadian.
History. Huh?
No.
Doesn't have to be Barbadian.
No.
This show, I would like you to have Rand Austin on this show.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why Rand Austin, right? Rand Austin is a Barbadian, but he was born in Trinidad, went to school foundation, come through these ranks, played club cricket, was successful club cricket, played first class, and also played a couple test matches. Rand is now back in Trinidad. He's coaching, he's playing. I think Rand Austin, but I think he has over 250. It could be over 300 first class wickets. Will be a really good guest on your show.
Yeah, I second that. I would like to speak to Ryan for sure. Yeah. He would be
a Rand country system. Rand's a good guy to talk to, and I could work through the thing, and once he's available, have it organized for you guys.
Mr.
I'll hold you to it.
It's from Trinidad as well.
Sorry,
Mr. Brahim Prasad is from Trinidad as well.
Mr. Prasad is originally from Guyana, and he's based in Ontario, Canada right now.
Oh,
He's in the comments as well.
yeah.
Well, Leslie, like Nero said, we just want to thank you for joining us on the show. Like also like Nero said, it's been long overdue because we have you in those. We can see you in the comments week in week out, and yeah, we just want to thank you for tuning in, man. Because as we can see, you're still at the office, so we know that you are busy, man. We know you have a lot on your plate, but to see someone of your caliber still taking the time out to tune in each and every week, and not only tune in but to share your opinions and to be in the comments. It really means a lot to us, so like I said, thanks a lot. It really means a lot to us, and we just want to continue. We just want to wish you all the best, and we know that you have a proven track record, so we know wherever you go, you'll do your best, and you'll be successful. So thank you once again, Stephen, and we wish you all the best going forward.
Gentlemen, thanks for having me and continue the great work. And I just want you guys to aim for the sky each and every time.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Steven. I
Thank you,
appreciate it,
Stephen.
man.
And thank you for viewers for tuning in. Once again, each and every week, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on this video whenever you do get a chance to watch it. Thank you very much, and have a good night.
Good night. Peace.